Where I am now, better than before. Through those open doors, where I am now, where I am now, I'm in a special place. I'm telling all the place where I am now.
It's now time for the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. The music that you hear in the background is none other than Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, Where I Am Now.
Where I am now.
And if you'd like to see us live in WGPL 1350 studio, WMVA 88.9 FM studio, all you have to do is go to Edward Everett's Facebook page, and guess what? You can see us live right here in the studio. And if you want to hear us all over the world, all you have to do is go to 1400 AM, 1350am.com, click and listen live. And now I want to introduce to some and present to others the host of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, and a pleasant good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. E. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Would you, could you, will you be my neighbor?
Let's welcome our neighbors. Let's welcome WGPL 1350 AM. Listen.
Peace, 95.3 FM, WPCE 1400 AM, and WMVA 88.9 FM.
Facebook Live is on and popping. Let's also welcome Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. We promise we'll shout you out.
Like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Like, share, comment, subscribe. Go over to YouTube right now at FYI Radio Show host Yolanda Hinton, or you can go to Crystal Records 1, CRISTO Records 1. Make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. And we promise we'll shout you out.
Promise?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. E.
Yeah.
What day is it today?
Today.
Give us a good one.
Today. Hump Day.
That's the greatest spring hump day in the
That's
whole
right.
wide world.
That's
you
right.
all should be up and popping.
That's
It's the
right.
middle of the week.
That's right. And it's spring too, and the rain that came.
Oh my goodness.
You know,
yes.
they said the rain in Spain fall gently on the plain. So, hey, I'm glad it rained so we can get some of this pollen out of the air.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. We can expect some great weather though this week, Mr. E, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying the rain and all that. The pollen is almost gone. You know, it's somewhere. It's getting away from here.
Right now, the temperature outside is 66 degrees and it's mostly cloudy, but it's a beautiful day. It's midweek. It's a Wednesday, so we should rejoice.
Absolutely. Mr. E, this is FYI's Wednesday segment. What's under the hat? We usually do issues concerning men. We have a great man here with us. Our special guest was Mr. RAMIN, FATEHI, Norfolk, Virginia Commonwealth's attorney. And we want to say good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Ms. Yolanda. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good morning, sir.
Absolutely. We just want to find out more about you. We're introducing you new to our audience. We want to know a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and have you always been here in the Norfolk area?
I came to the Norfolk area in 1985 when I was 7 years old. My mom and daddy had met in Washington, and my daddy's from Iran, so I lived in Iran until I was 7 years old. But we moved here, and other than a few years for school, I've been in Hampton Roads my whole life.
Absolutely. Do you enjoy Hampton Roads? You've been here your whole life, but it's somewhere that you love being.
Absolutely. I love people of Hampton Roads the most, and specifically the people in Norfolk. Norfolk is the heart of our region. It's a historic city, and it's a city with people who love each other and love their community.
Absolutely. Mr. FATEHI, you have a wonderful job, a important job. You're the Commonwealth Attorney for the city of Norfolk, and you have a staff of about 40 other lawyers and 45 support staffs. You are responsible for persecuting felonies and selected misdemeanor cases in Norfolk's court. Tell us about the journey to getting to being the Commonwealth Attorney for the city of Norfolk.
I started out my law career working for a Virginia Supreme Court justice. It's like an apprenticeship that a few lawyers get the chance to do every year after law school. And then I went to a big corporate law firm in D.C. and I realized that it just wasn't my calling. That my daddy had been a doctor, my mother had been a nurse, and I was helping sort of rich people argue over money. And so that's not what St. Peter wants to see on my role when I go and report to it. And so I walked away from that work and took a job as a public defender in Richmond, which is a city a lot like Norfolk. And I represented adults and children who had gotten caught up in the justice system. And part of the reason that work appealed to me is that I recognize how blessed I am in my life.
Yeah.
We don't choose whether we're black or white. We don't choose our parents. We don't choose our situation. And I was blessed with a phenomenal family, every advantage. And so the adults and the children whom I represented had made mistakes, but they also had been born into situations they didn't choose and were in some ways victims of their own circumstances, especially the kids I represented. I saw myself in them, that they weren't, I wasn't any smarter than they were. I wasn't any more, any less impulsive. I just had a better situation. And, we're all God's children. We're all created in the image of God. And, I had advantages that they didn't. They had disadvantages I didn't. And that was why I was in a business suit and they were in a jumpsuit. And it really drove me to recognize how unjust the justice system was and how much race and class and wealth had to do with how people got treated in the justice system. It was really it was a time of moral clarity and moral calling for me.
Absolutely. You have key responsibilities, and one is one of the main ones is prosecution. But there are a lot of things that you all do in that office as representing Norfolk as and the Commonwealth. Tell us a little bit about some of those responsibilities.
Absolutely. So I talked a little bit about being a public defender. I guess the question is, well, why are you a prosecutor, right? And I've been doing this now for almost 19 years. Right? When I first started, my job was to go to court and try cases. And, a lot of people will say, well, you just do the crime, you do the time. And that's so wrong. What we do as prosecutors, we don't charge the case. The police and a system called magistrates charge the case, set the initial bail, and then they don't work for us. And then they hand the case over to us. And then, a day in the life of a prosecutor, you look at the case, you see if the evidence is there to support the charge. And if the evidence is, once we say, can we prosecute, then the next question is, morally and equitably, should we go forward as charged full bore, or is there a better way, a way to deal with whatever puts the person in the system so that we can be fair to them without overkilling or without creating bigger problems? So my job as Commonwealth Attorney, as the head of are 120 of us Commonwealth attorneys in Virginia, and my office is the sixth biggest. My job is to set the overall message, the overall tone. So I'm the only part of the justice system people get to vote for. So it's to make promises to the citizens of Norfolk that we're going to have fair, equitable justice, where wealth and position don't play part, where we don't feed the school to prison pipeline or feed mass incarceration. My job day to day is to decide how to make sure we have one system of justice for everyone, and then how to implement policies like don't send kids to adult prison, or don't seek mandatory life without parole, or focus our trial work on violent crime and murders and rapes, and holding those folks accountable and putting them in prison without putting everybody in prison. When we do that, it really harms our communities and drives crime up rather than driving crime down.
Is there a formula? How do you decide? Are you all around the table and say, okay, these cases are before us. This one seems as though, how do you decide whether you are going to prosecute a case?
Well, so I have guidelines, and they're almost 11 pages of guidelines, single space. If you go to the Norfolk Commonwealth's Attorney's Office website, I have them on the internet for everyone to read. I think I'm the only prosecutor in Virginia who does that. And there are guidelines. And they say things like, if you want to send a kid to adult court, you have to get my permission, me personally. If lawyers want to use mandatory minimum sentences, which I've campaigned in the General Assembly year after year to repeal because they are so unfair. So they tie a judge's hands. You have to get clearance. If you want to ask for a sentence above a certain amount, you have to get my clearance. And for lesser things, they have to go to their supervisors for clearance. But to decide what to do in every case, it depends on the can we and the should we. Is the evidence good or bad? Do we have witnesses? Is the right person charged? Or is the wrong person charged? If it's a homicide case, did the person act in self-defense? In which case they shouldn't be charged, for example. And then deciding how to proceed with those cases. So all of the serious cases go through me personally. Every day I've got lawyers in my office talking about it because I'm the one who's personally responsible to the voters of Norfolk, so to keep them safe and treat them fairly. For the more routine cases, because we handle 4,000 cases a year for the 40 lawyers. For more routine cases, I rely on my lawyers to think, if RAMIN were prosecuting this case himself, what would he do? And to use the guidance of the supervisors who work, and whom I've known for decades, and know my mind, to make sure that they're doing the right thing. I also rely on defense lawyers. I rely on members of the faith community. I rely on citizens who've been active in civil rights work here, that if they see something, or if a citizen calls and says, look, I got a concern about this case. I don't think it's being handled right. So I rely on them to call me. And my cell phone number is on my website. Same place with my policies, I got my cell phone number. 621-1823. Right there, and I've always welcomed any citizen and any person in the community to call me. Make sure that if something ain't going right, that if they think something ain't going right, I can either explain that it is, or I can check and I can fix it.
Wow. I want to say good morning to you again, Mr. FATEHI. Thank you so very, very much. When I first met you, I had a hard time with your name anyway. But other than that, thank you so very, very much. Has the crime in Norfolk has gone down any?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I came in, I took office January 1st of 2022, right in the middle of the COVID crime spike. And I got to tell you, a lot of people put pressure on me not to be a progressive prosecutor, not to do criminal justice reform. And, they wanted me to do mandatory minimums and sending kids to prison. And I told them I wasn't going to do that because it was going to make things worse rather than better. And I got to tell you, 3 years later, our homicides in Norfolk are down 42%.
Wow. Congratulations. Yeah.
Well, don't congratulate me. I'll tell you why. But I got some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Our other violent crime, our violent crime overall, is down 40%.
Mm.
So that counts rapes and robberies and shootings. Then our property crime, whether it's car theft, shoplifting, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that's all down 27%.
Mm.
So, total crime is down, way down. And by the way, the jail population is half of what it was 10 years ago.
Wow.
So everybody says that you gotta, the old sort of lies about how this stuff works was if you want to be safe, you gotta lock everybody up.
Wow.
And that ain't true. Like, you gotta lock up the small number of people who are killing people.
Mm-hmm.
You lock everybody up, you destroy communities.
Yes, absolutely.
So we have succeeded. And I told you don't congratulate me because I didn't drive those crime numbers down. Mm-hmm. President Biden fixing the economy and getting people back in school and having boys and girls clubs and youth activities open back up is what drove it down.
Yeah.
Oh,
but the part that
yes.
made a real difference is I did criminal justice reform. I saved thousands of years of incarceration, hundreds of people from being felons. So I did criminal justice reform. I made the system more fair, and I proved that crime can drop while you do it.
Absolutely. Now, you believe in community involvement. So you're out there, like you said, you have your information online. The neighbors and community can reach you. But getting involved in the community, tell us why that is so important, why that relationship with your office and Commonwealth and the community is so important.
So every one of us has that friend who, the minute we see them on the caller ID, we pick up and we go, yeah, what do you want? What do you want? And I don't want to be that guy. When people come into the criminal justice system, it's either a mistake so bad that they've made that they're the accused and they're looking at going to jail or prison, or they're a victim and it's one of the worst or the worst thing that's ever happened to them. And that's not a good place to build a relationship if we're the prosecutors. So I want to be in the community and I want people to see my prosecutors and me. When 30, 40 of us march in the Berkeley reunion or in the Ocean View St. Patrick's Day parade, they get to see us and see that we love our city. And that means that when we ask them, look, we need you to come to court, or, you were sexually assaulted, we need you to tell jurors what this person did to you, so that they understand that we're not using them, that we are there because we want to help them. And, part of the reason that being a progressive prosecutor, a criminal justice reformer is so important is because people know the system has benefited the rich and the powerful, and that it's harmed Black and brown communities and working class people of all races, and so they just don't want to cooperate. Out of every 100 murders in America, only 60 people are ever arrested. And that's terrible. My wanting to be involved in the community is to get, if one extra person picks up the phone and calls, and we get 61 instead of 60.
Yes.
Because they say, you know what, this isn't 1950. RAMIN and his people are, maybe they're different than prosecutors in some other places, or the way prosecutors were in Norfolk 20 years ago. I'll pick up the phone. It's designed, first of all, for me to be visible and transparent, but it's also designed to make it safer by having people trust the system so that they call the police instead of shooting it out in the street.
Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Romney, you have great job, and you know that you get ready to run for office. And we want to know, how important is this for you to run for office?
It is fundamentally important for us as citizens to have a voice in the justice system.
Yes.
So, our laws are important, but one of the most powerful individuals in any government is the prosecutor, because we have the power to decide which cases go forward and which cases to drop. And look no further than Donald Trump if you want to see what it looks like to have somebody who perverts and distorts the justice system. And this particular primary I'm running, Norfolk voted 70% for Kamala. God bless it. And that means that the Republicans play in our Democratic primary. So my primary is the election. Early voting starts May 2nd. Primary day is June 17th. And the criminal justice reform makes Republicans and rich people mad.
Wow.
They want mass incarceration. And those folks have found a federal prosecutor to run against me. A dude who brags about having a 100% conviction rate, and a dude who took a job from Donald Trump and Donald Trump's Justice Department in 2018. And who's dog whistling about enforcing the law. And we can't afford to have somebody who's willing to work with Donald Trump for Donald Trump in charge of justice in Norfolk. We're the home of the Norfolk Four. We're the place that the last two people on death row in Virginia came from. We can't afford this. This is serious.
Yes, absolutely.
Can't go back. Yeah.
How do we get the message out? What can we do as citizens to ensure a safe community and that things, change for our future? And what can we do?
The most important thing is to educate ourselves and to talk to our friends and neighbors. So to remind people, you can't just vote once every 4 years in November.
Yes.
So you've got to vote. There's in Virginia, we have elections every year because of Jim Crow. The idea was to get people to go to sleep or get tired and forget that there were elections, so that elections could be bought or controlled by a small number of people. We've got to vote every year, every primary, every general election, and we have to tell our friends, I'm going to vote. You come with me. And take people to the polls with us to vote, because the biggest category of voters, even in presidential years, didn't vote.
Yes.
And when you don't vote in America, you're voting for the person you like best.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How can we as the community change the minds of many, and like you're doing and what you're doing to help our community rise above, mere survival? How can we as one join with you in allowing people and telling folks to go out, pull that lever on May for you?
The best way is to remind folks, like, do we want 16 and 17-year-olds being sentenced to life in prison? If we do, we should stay home. If we think that that's inequitable, then we should vote for the guy who's pledged not to do that. Me. If we say that we think that we want fewer people in jail, and we want the jail to be a place only for dangerous people, then there's a real clear choice in this election. Or if you're mad about Donald Trump and you don't like people who carry water for Donald Trump, like there's a dude willing to do that on the ballot June 17th in Norfolk, and who's going to control who gets life in prison.
Yes, absolutely.
We can't afford to do that. It's just to remind people that with real moral clarity that this is not just some election about who's going to be the dog catcher. It's the election that decides people's freedom.
Yes.
And to remind people like slogans and sound bites
Yes.
like are not politics. And that, you know, that I am a proven guy. That we know I am who I am. Everybody knows who I am. Bobby Scott knows who I am and has endorsed me. Don Scott, one of the most famous returning citizens in America, endorses me. The last Attorney General of Virginia, who was a Democrat, Mark Herring, who was my opponent's old boss, has endorsed me.
Yes.
Paul Riddick has endorsed me.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
they're, you know, they're, and I don't want to name particular members of the faith community, but members of the faith community who've known me for many, many years.
Absolutely.
Support me. And
yes.
And it's just crucial to get the word out. You all do a wonderful job at Faith Radio in doing that, but also in our Bible study groups, in our civic leagues, in our social clubs and fraternities, sororities. There's the message is there's an election, June 17th. There's a choice, and we've got to go and vote.
Absolutely. I would love for you to encourage groups like myself who have after-school programs for young men and young women. I really believe it starts early. We have to reach our children young. We have to teach them. We have to teach them to vote. We have to teach them to, to stand up against, wrong, like you've been saying. Can you just encourage those out there to get involved with our youth?
Absolutely. So there was a Jesuit priest who once said, "Show me this child is 6, and I will show you the man." And we have to be there for our young people. Having adequate food, adequate education, adequate structure for a young person turns them into a productive citizen. And that's why it's so morally obscene that Donald Trump is cutting Head Start. And so which for every dollar you spend on it, saves $6 in social costs and makes people happier and healthier. And which means that at a certain point, there's nobody going to be here for us but us. Yes. And we're going to have to do this. But I would also say we need to demand of our government, of our mayors, of our city councilors, and of our state legislators and governors to say, so if you care about driving down crime, don't build more prisons, build more schools.
Yeah.
So provide good blue-collar jobs so that fathers can be in the community instead of in jail.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
So that they can rear their sons instead of having the streets do it. So support health care so that poor people don't die 8 or 9 years sooner on average than rich people in America. So support child care so that mothers who want to work can. So and plant the seeds in good soil so that they will sprout and that we have a safer world instead of just dealing with the symptoms of the justice system the way I have to do.
Absolutely. We want you to give the contact information, the website where people can contact you if they need to.
Yes. The easiest place is to Google Norfolk Commonwealth's Attorney, and that will pop right up to my website. It's got my cell phone number, it's got my email, and people can subscribe to my office's news alerts. We put out over 200 news alerts last year on convictions in violent crime cases and things like graduations from drug court and mental health court, where we were able to offer people alternatives and get their lives back together without sending them to jail.
Absolutely.
So, Norfolk Commonwealth's Attorney by Google.
Yes, we want to thank you so much for being on. So much great information.
Thank you.
Thank you for meeting our audience, and we want you to stay blessed and continue, you and others, to do the work. Have a wonderful day.
Miss Yolanda, anytime you want me to talk to your youth group,
oh my goodness.
That sounds wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless and take care.
God bless you. Wow.
It's the E. That's it. We're ready to go.
We're ready to get out of here.
I tell you what, it's been a blessed day. Mr. E, take us away.
For the past 30 minutes, you've been listening to the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. For more information about FYI, give us a call at 757-714-7861. That's 757-714-7861. Our special guest today has been none other than Commonwealth Attorney Romain FATEHI. FATEHI, that's right, Romain FATEHI. That's FATEHI. Don't forget to join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And don't forget to have a wonderful, wonderful hump day on today.
Oh my goodness. Boy, Mr. E, when I hear him talk about the responsibility of a prosecutor, the attorney, Commonwealth attorney, that's a big, big, big job.
That's right. You know, Miss Hinton, when I heard that, and how he was for the people and not against the people, how he was wanted to have more schools and more recreational centers open so that our children can have a place to go in the afternoon, go after school. When he said that he wants to have empty jails instead of full jail, where you should put the real criminals in jail and those who've been in the wrong place at the wrong time, give them an opportunity to change their way.
I want to thank him for being on with us. I accept that invitation for him to come.
Yeah.
We will extend that invitation for him to come to talk to our youth, because we have to reach our youth early. And just like he was saying, there still is a time where, you know, people are still looking at building more jails, looking at those that stay in trouble in school, and they already setting them up to be
for failure.
That's right, for failure. And so we want to make sure that his voice is heard, and that we continue to encourage our young people. We got some upcoming shows that are going to be great. Fun Friday, Women's Issues. Join us for that. Also, Monday Sports Talk. Mr.
That's
E,
right.
He's still looking at the games, the playoffs.
Miss Hinton, I'm telling you, the sports talk is right around the corner, and the playoff is off the chain. So when you get an opportunity, make sure you look at these games.
Absolutely. We also have immigration. Mr. E, tell us about that.
Mr. John Vasquez will be our special guest on the 30th of April to talk about immigration and things of that nature.
We want to say good morning to Miss Destiny. Oh, Miss Vara, how are you doing? Loved you, young lady. She's over on Instagram. And all you all that I can't see, but you're there, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your support. So we got some great shows coming up. We have, of course, again, men's issues. We'll be talking about that on next Wednesday. FYI After Dark, join us, because on this coming Monday, we have Mr. Jason Baker talking about Bitcoins, you know, what you need to know about it, what it is, what's the talk about all this Bitcoins and things like that. He'll be on to give us some more clarity on, especially if you're already investing and you really don't know a lot. He'll give us a little bit more information than what we know. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. And you can also be a special guest, intern, or sponsor with FYI Radio Show.
If you'd like to be a special guest, intern, or sponsor of the most talked about radio show, all you have to do is give us a call at 757-714-7861. That's 757-714-7861. Or you can email us at FYIRadiosHowLive@gmail.com. Or you can inbox us at Edward Everett's Facebook page, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton's Facebook page, or FYI Facebook page. Listen, if you'd like to sit into our audience, all you have to do is email us your email, and we'll email you back on what date, what time, and where to be when you email to be in our special audience. Okay? For more information, give us a call at 757-714-7861, and have a good day now.
All right. Don't forget our Hot Topics segment on FYI After Dark and Around the Town. We'll be doing that as well.
That's right.
And we'll be posting when those segments will be on. We would love for you to be involved. So look, have a blessed and wonderful day. We'll see you back here on Fun Friday.
2 up, 2 down, VA.